Sunday Night Football, Kansas City Chiefs at the New York Jets. Another one of those supposed Patrick Mahomes versus Aaron Rodgers matchups. It's the third time it did not happen.
We were supposed to get it, and then
for the third time,
4 snaps in.
We got Matt Moore, Aaron Rodgers. We got Patrick Mahomes, Jordan Love. And now we get Patrick Mahomes, Zach Wilson instead of Mahomes, Rodgers.
Great.
So Chiefs and Jets. Chiefs favored by 9.5 on the road against the Jets. You know that Chris and the whole NBC crew were high-fiving when they got this game back in April or May or whenever the schedule came out.
Well, they're high-fiving now for a different reason. Apparently Taylor Swift's going to be there.
Taylor Swift might help the ratings a bit.
The flagging ratings of Sunday Night Football just crushes everything
yes,
every
I know,
year.
which are already incredible. The Swifties are going to tune in.
Mm-hmm.
So, look, I think when the Chiefs have the ball, their matchup with the Jets pass rush.
That's interesting. Yeah,
it is.
You're really only watching
compelling.
this game for one side of the ball.
Yeah.
Like the score will be whatever the score ends up being, but Kansas City's offense against the Jets' defense is going to be fun to watch.
If you're rooting for a competitive game, it's like, all right, how much can the Jets baby Zach Wilson, keep him from not turning it over? Can they run it at all? But let's talk Chiefs offense and Jets defense. The Chiefs have played the Lions, Jaguars, and Bears. And I think the Chiefs have one of the best offensive lines, especially from a pass pro standpoint. The Lions pass rush was Hutchinson pretty much. The Jags have the number 2 worst pass rush grade. And the Bears, I don't know where the Bears rank, but they're in the bottom 3, and they might be worse than Jacksonville, right? This will be the first time the Chiefs are actually challenged up front from a pass protection standpoint. So I'm interested in that. And, of course, with Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed and some players on the back end, the Jets' defense can at least kind of keep it close here.
Yeah, that's a really good pass rush they have, and they're going up against the offense that hasn't seen that yet this season. The other thing is, now that Jawan Taylor is being potentially victimized by officials to make a point, like they've taken him out of the game for the last 2 games in a row because this is getting out of control. Like if they have to do that again,
they were trying to test it.
Yeah, well, whatever
like
they're doing, they're taking him off the field and putting a worse pass blocker on voluntarily because it's better than the penalties that they're drawing, whether or not they're legit. The point being, for the first time, that might actually be a problem because you're going up against a serious pass rush now. Like you can't have your best pass rusher or your best pass protector at that spot that you're paying $20 million a season to, not on the field because the officials are throwing crazy flags on them. Like they need to get that figured out, even if it's a case of, hey, Jawan, you need to like overcorrect this week, right? You need to be a foot further than you would normally up at the line of scrimmage. Don't move your damn foot. Do not catch a penalty, whatever happens, because you're actually going up against a serious pass rush for the first time.
Like, yeah, just line up in the right spot.
Yeah, but I mean, at the moment, it's like he went from week 1, there was some piss taking place, right? Now, it's like we're making a point by flagging you, and he's actually not off relative to other tackles. Now, you can say they're all off, and they should all be drawing flags, and fair enough.
The people in your mentions who said the boss, Chris, should be bringing this to light. Well, he's got something to talk about now.
Right. My point being, you should overcorrect now, right?
Yeah,
whether or not he's in the right, clearly they're throwing the flag, so let's make it completely unequivocal.
I think Mahomes is number 2 graded among quarterbacks. Passing grade's down a little bit. His rushing grade is outstanding. You know, Mahomes that slow start that we saw in the opening night where the receivers really let Mahomes down, that's evened off a little bit, and I think that the Chiefs looked better last week against the Bears. It's still not fully there yet. You know, 2 weeks ago it was not great against Jacksonville. So I think the Chiefs will hit their stride at some point, but I think this is definitely the most challenging defense that they've faced so far. So that is compelling on that side of the ball. And again, for the Jets, I mean, as a football fan, you're just rooting for competitiveness in primetime, right? It's a 9.5 point spread. So what can the Jets do to at least keep it close here?
So you're rooting for competitiveness or sideline drama. Now, there are multiple instances in 3 weeks of Jets players looking pretty pissed off and screaming at people on the sideline. And there are reports now that, you know, they're not happy. The defense in particular is not happy that Robert Saleh is saying consistently, Zach Wilson's our guy. Like continuous support for a guy who's quite clearly not capable of operating this thing.
I will say, is Zach Wilson good? No. I will say, the stretch of defenses he's had to play.
Sure.
He stepped in against the Buffalo Bills. He played the Dallas Cowboys and the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
And his history against New England is so bad. We highlighted it last week. That was kind of an expected outcome. As bad as Zach Wilson is, or has played, he's that much worse against the Patriots.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying. And so the Chiefs defense, by the way, is also one of the
Pretty
best in
good,
the league.
yeah.
So in addition to Zach Wilson not being good at football right now, he's going up against this very difficult stretch, and I think that's making things look even worse.
Yeah, agreed. I would make two other points. Number one, that offensive line is not good, right? That's part of the problem here.
Yeah.
And the offensive line was already looking like a potential problem when Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback. The second point is, like, it's not like they have a bunch of better options. You know what I mean? They signed Trevor Siemian to be the guy who's eventually going to be starting when they have to bench Zach Wilson. But they're in a very tough spot where, like, Aaron Rodgers is still talking about returning for the playoffs, right? And even if he isn't, he's returning next year. I don't know that you can just go and, like, sign Kirk Cousins because Rodgers expects to be the quarterback still, right?
Yeah.
So you're in a tough spot where if you're signing anybody or trading for anybody, it's a stopgap. It's to be viable this season. And number one, there aren't a lot of those guys around. Number two, there's even fewer of them if you're talking about just signing somebody off the street. Anybody that can play NFL games is generally speaking already on a roster right now, right? So the defense is correctly, justifiably pissed off that they are playing out of their minds and still losing every week effectively because their quarterback is garbage. From a coaching perspective, I don't know that there's a fix to that because, like, if you bench Zach Wilson, like, all the defense wants is for you to basically acknowledge the self-evident fact that Zach Wilson has no business starting NFL games, right? And you go, okay, fair enough. That's true. Let's make a change. Now Trevor Siemian is starting. Well, that's going to last 2 weeks before the same thing is true. And then you have to start Tim Boyle. And then the same thing is true. Like, you know what I mean? There's no answer to that. Your quarterback, whoever it is not good enough for this team to be winning games. So the Jets defense is only going to get increasingly pissed off as the weeks go by.
The problem right now is, again, whether it's Zach Wilson himself or a combination of him going up against good defenses, he is at that level of when he completes a pass for a first down, it's like you're a little surprised. So if you brought Carson Wentz in off the street, would he be better? I mean,
that's
would
the
they
one
win?
option.
Right? Would they win? I don't know. Would they at least have a chance?
Yeah.
They'd have a chance.
To
right?
me,
You'd
that's
say,
your
hey,
one.
Carson Wentz can make 3 or 4 throws in this game,
Yeah.
and if the defense keeps it close, they're all right. You don't like with Zach Wilson. It's like if he just doesn't turn it over, it feels like a win. If he has a couple first downs, all right, he's exceeding expectations.
Right.
It's that level right now that is
to me,
a struggle.
Carson Wentz is the only potential option that would theoretically give them a better shot or a better spot than where they are right now. Now, the thing is, who knows what Carson Wentz wants money-wise to do this? Like, maybe Carson Wentz is out here going, sure, I'll come play for you, but it's going to cost $20 million. At which point you're like, well, hell no.
No, you can't do that.
You know what I mean? So, and that could be happening. Nobody knows, right? You're not going to announce that publicly, right? Yeah, we reached out to Carson, but it turns out he wants a shit ton of money, so we're out, right? You would say nothing because you can't publicly state that Zach Wilson is only there because Carson Wentz wanted too much money. So if that was happening, we wouldn't know about it. And it could be. But my point being, this is another game where the Jets defense is likely to be upset by how it goes.
We've said this a few times throughout the Patrick Mahomes era. You know, when he gets the defense on the other side of average, you know, what's going to happen then? Right now, the Chiefs' number 4 defense in EPA per play allowed. They've been outstanding. Again, who they played, but they played well against the Lions, played well against the Jags, got a little help from Jags receivers, dominated the Bears last week for whatever that's worth, but the Chiefs' defense looking much better than they have in recent years. So, man, I know I take the favorites a lot, but I think the Chiefs cover.
It's a lot of points.
The 9.5, even on the road.
I'm picking the Chiefs too.